Hello everybody, Incon here with your Persephone guide. We're going to be grabbing ourselves the Sands of Time, and we are going to be taking ourselves into that Spear of Desolation. We're going to get ourselves a couple of health pots, a mana pot, and we are going to be running ourselves right on out. You can start with the 2 at level 1, or the 1. Honestly, either way, it's not the end of the world. I am going to start with the 2, and I'm going to run out to the mid lane so I can get out a set of plants. So that way I will have a couple of plants in the middle lane. You can have up to 5 plants when you have 1 point in the ability, up to 7 if you have all 5 points in the ability. So now I will still have 2 plants in the middle, but I've got 3 plants over here that I can use to help clear out this red buff. So Persephone has been reworked very recently. Kind of a controversial rework, I would say. Some people kind of loving it, some people kind of hating it. Overall, they basically made her slightly less complicated, and gave her more direct damage. I would say those are probably the 2 biggest changes. On the whole, Persephone is still an extremely good character. I mean, extremely good. In fact, so good that there's a good chance that when she's available and ranked, she will probably be banned. Level 2, we're of course going to get our 3. This is our getaway skill, which is also going to pair now with our 2 on Persephone. So we can use all of that to pot our plants and send them out in a line in front of us. We will discuss all of these abilities a little bit more in depth as we start to get out a little bit of this laning phase. So her passive is mostly the same, except for, so you still get like the gold and stuff from your little pomegranates. You still get a little bit of HP. So like if I auto attack this guy right here and I was missing some HP, I would get some, all that good stuff. But now when you die, instead of being able to continue playing the game and do damage, you actually can just put down plants and you can't see anything, and it's really weird, and it's the worst part of Persephone's new kit. Honestly, I think they should just take it out in its entirety. It doesn't really serve a purpose. Then we've got 1. The 1 is very similar. Bone Rush, still a line-based ability, but it no longer has that really janky targeting system where you would like click the button and then even if you switched it to go somewhere else, it wouldn't go somewhere else. So I really like what they've done with the first ability, and it is actually the ability that we are gonna max out first. And we're going to talk about that why after we've gone over all these abilities. The 3 is basically still the same as well. It is still that directional jump ability. So you can jump backwards and it still procs your plants. Now, the one thing that really changed on this ability is it is actually going to do damage now in the radius around you. So not only can you like pop your plants or whatever, the actual jump itself does do damage, and that becomes very relevant in the late stages of the game. Then you have your ultimate. Ultimate is still the same as it's ever been. Still throws out, can yeet down forever and ever and ever until it hits a wall or a god or whatever. And then it grabs people and it keeps them in that spot until you get rid of the plant or the duration runs out. With the biggest change happening to the second ability now places down 3 plants. It does damage as well. So it does a small damage in the radius around it. Summons 3 plants. Those plants take a moment to come up, and then you can send out those plants.
On my way.
Those plants now work. Those plants now work by going out directly in the order, in the direction that you auto attack, or that you jump and you're facing. So if I've got 3 plants down, I can send them in 3 very different directions by the direction that I'm looking when I auto. So I can send one to the left, and then one middle, and then one right. I can send them anywhere, and they will just walk straight forward. And the way that they do damage is the reason why I don't actually level up this ability first. I've practiced quite a bit with leveling both the 1 and the 2. And I find that the 2's damage is, I'm going to kindly describe it as inconsistent. I'm not 100% saying it's bugged, but I'm also definitely not saying it's not bugged. The way that it works is you send out the plants, and the plants very literally bite, and the plants have a delay on the bite timer between bites. So you can throw out this ability and it go right over an enemy god and do no damage because maybe it just bit a minion right beforehand, which makes the ability feel extremely inconsistent, and it really doesn't actually feel good. Like right there, you just saw it did not do any damage to that red buff on that bite. I'm like 95% sure the ability is actually bugged. And that one day we will get a fix for it. And until then, I don't think they're going to admit that it's probably bugged. But the way that it does work is that one plant can't bite more than one time. So theoretically, if one person were to be running with one plant, that plant could actually attack up to 3 times, doing progressively less damage every single time that it bites. So for our level order, we're going to be leveling up our 1 to max first. We're going to be doing 1, then we're going to be maxing our 2, then our 4, 3. So it's 1, 2, 4, 3. Now, when your second ability does work proper, you'll notice it, especially in the ultra late stages of the game, when you're just kind of sending out plants at random and you're not really worried about each individual plant. It's just like a giant hodgepodge. That's when you can really see the ability kick up a notch. When it's just like covering a lane with a bunch of different plants and you start to terrorize the enemy team with it. It becomes really good. But the 1 you can see is way easier to aim than it used to be. So before you used to have to aim it and then it would just go off in that direction no matter what. Nowadays, if I want to actually start it in this direction and then flip around and use it over here, I can do that now. That's the biggest change to the 1. And for those that missed the old Bone Rush audio effect, have no fear, that will be coming back into the game as well. Apparently that is also a bug. The audio effect was never supposed to even be removed, but that is supposedly coming back into the game. Now that I've got my 1 with about 4 points, you can see that I'm clearing the wave much more easily. In order to clear the wave with your 2, it actually does take a bit longer, which is why I leveled this ability up to max second. I actually don't level the ulti before the 2. The ultimate is nice on the increase, but honestly, the best thing about the ultimate is generically the CC. And you kind of just get that for having 1 point into it. So I like to do that 1, 2, 4, 3 order, because that 2, when you start getting this damage increase, especially once you get a lot of CDR online, ooh-wee, it gets really real, really fast. It's just not very consistent. So Persephone is absolutely a high damage burst mage now. Yes, she still has a couple of those other things in her kit, but she's really more of a straight damage kind of artillery mage now. Much more of a standard mage, which I prefer on the overall. I think that the rework has been a success, with the big caveat of I do not know why the passive when you die even exists. At some point, I'm sure we'll die this game and you'll get to see it. I'm not sure why it's even a thing. So I'm gonna throw down my 2 right here on the Ganesh, follow that up with a 1, do a little backflip, bada bing, bada boom. So I get that damage right there from the plants that go off and bite the elephant. But also, I get it for the actual jump itself. I'm gonna try to put this on the wall so it roots to Discordia. Unfortunately, it's just not quite gonna get her in time before she gets around that wall. I might be able to do a little aggressive jump here into a 1 and then grab that kill as well.
Nice job.
I need to continue to run away though. We gotta do a little slide to the left, slide to the right. Take it back now, y'all. Get the wave this time. Ooh, and then waddle away. Now I'm gonna back up and I'm gonna get myself Spear of Desolation. So on new Persephone kit, the number 1 thing that's the most important to us is cooldown. Persephone is a god that you're gonna want 40% cooldown on no matter what. I like to start off my build with the Sands of Time, get that CDR going early. The power boost into the Spear of Desolation. This is very common. You pretty much see this on like every mage right now.
Okay.
And then my third item is gonna be a little bit different. So right now, a lot of the times you're gonna see a third item, Karen's Coin, which is a fantastic item. It is the percent pen item of choice right now. For mages, it's fantastic. I get it mostly third on my gods. But on Persephone, I'm actually not going to, because there's an item on Persephone that I truly believe might be better on her than maybe anybody else. And that is actually going to be our Staff of Mirden. Staff of Mirden is going to give us another 10% CDR. It's going to give us a little bit of pen, 10%. But more importantly, it's going to give us that ability to use an extra ability after our ulti. And Persephone probably has the best pairing possible with that. And that's because of her 2. Her 2 summons these plants, right? You can have up to 7 of them when it's max rank. Right now, I've got 4 points in it. I can have up to 6. You summon 3 with your 2. So if you have Staff of Mirden, you get to go ulti, root somebody in place, 2 on top of them, 2 on top of them, and now there's 6 plants. 6 plants. And then you use your 3 and you explode all of those plants at the exact same time. The combo is absolutely wild. And so I like to get that Staff of Mirden a little bit earlier. I do believe it's 1,600 gold to get that T2 going. So I'm gonna back up so I can get the extra CDR right here, right now. So just keep that in mind. I think Staff of Mirden is a crucial item on her. If you really don't want to get it third, you could get it fourth and get that Karen's Coin third. I just like to have a little bit of extra CDR a little bit earlier, plus the ability to do the double 2 wombo combo as we get into team fights around like the Gold Fury Pyromancer area at these stages of the game. As far as our general combos go, we're going to be using our 1 either at the very start of the fight to start poking or at the very end of the fight. I prefer to start with the 2 when at all possible. Your 2 can be used over walls. It should be noted your 1 does not go through walls. But your 2 can be thrown over walls. And it gives your plants a little bit of time to like germinate. I'm going to go ahead and throw down my ulti on this elephant. I'm going to do a little backflip jump. Get some more damage on him right there. Not quite looking like it's going to be able to kill him. But actually, I might be able to have a little plant follow-up right here. Unfortunately, I don't have any other plants up in my repertoire. I'm going to have the bead backflip right here. Might be able to get out of this with a little A. You guys know the Woojer is actually here, so I'm not going to be able to get out of that at all. So we're just going to keep waddling away. Waddle, waddle. Ooh, actually, you know what? He's got to be careful and he knows it. I'm going to throw down some plants right here as a little defensive mechanism. He actually kind of kicks me away, almost out of harm's way, and it looks like I will probably be able to get out of this one.
Need to recharge.
One more thing about the plants you should know. I mentioned it a little bit earlier, but you should just know, as particularly in the laning phase, remember that you can use the plant for heals still. So if they grow up into the scary attack you plants, they're not going to heal you anymore. But you can just throw down a 2 in lane and then attack them, and they will give you a little bit of HP sustain. Just to kind of keep you topped up, especially if you're just taking a little bit of poke damage. Maybe you tank the red buff and you just want a little bit of HP. You can just go ahead and regular auto attack those, and you will be able to get some HP back. So the biggest dilemma right now on Persephone is actually very Thoth-like. So for the Thoth players out there in the world, you will get this. Persephone's getaway skill also happens to be a fantastic damaging ability. So your 3 not only does it do good damage itself, it also procs all of your flowers, which is fantastic. Just like a Thoth dash, where it's your getaway skill, but it's also a massively damaging ability. So your number 1 thing on Persephone right now that you're worried about is can I use my dash aggressively? And that is going to come in a lot of just practice. It takes a lot of time to know the situations that you can be in where you can use it aggressively. As a general rule, I say this with Thoth as well, if you're not sure whether it's a good time to use your dash aggressively, then it's a bad time to use your dash aggressively. So unless you are absolutely confident that it's not a bad time to use your dash, like right there, I'm pretty confident it's gonna be a good time to use my dash. I'm gonna ulti right there into the Discordia. I'm gonna throw down a little 2 over the wall for some plants. I can still throw another 2 actually this way. So I'm pretty confident right there that I'm gonna be fine, you know? Gotta look towards this dodge. She's going over the wall. Gonna try to reach it. Throw down a 2 right over here on top of her. Throw down my plant so that they're gonna walk right through that little hole. Maybe hit more than even the dodge right there. Now I gotta be a little careful because there's a Gilgamesh around. And a Yeezus. Give him a little poke over the wall. Speak of the devil. Gonna go ahead and use a little preemptive beads. Gonna dash myself away towards the mid lane. I don't think he has anything up to actually follow me. Oh, I'm a little bit low on HP. I want to heal. I'm gonna pop my 2. Bam, bam. Look at that. It's like a 200 HP heal or something. It's not insignificant whatsoever. So for the gods that we do not want to go against on Persephone, she really doesn't have any horrible matchup, which is part of the reason probably why she's going to be banned so much, I imagine, when she's available in ranked. The one thing that does get annoying for her is a good Awilix player, because you can be grabbed out of your 3. So she can take you out of your jump. And the other thing in general, this is more for all mages, but Persephone nonetheless, is going to be gods with immunities. So any god that has an invulnerability frame, like Awilix with her feather step, can really screw you up on Persephone, because a lot of your self-peel comes down to 2 things. 1, doing a stupid amount of damage by throwing down your 2 and jumping away, and making it so nobody ever wants to get in melee range of you ever again. The other way is just by using your ulti and getting that root off and getting them stuck inside of there, and then they can't continue to chase you down. And if they just hippity hoppity right on over your ult, it's kind of a disaster. So I'd be careful of like the Ravens, Awilixes of the world.
On my way.
They tend to be quite annoying for you. Not just you, I mean pretty much all mages, but they're like the one characters on Awilix, so I'm like, I'm gonna have to like really pay attention this game. Also keep in mind that anybody that can prevent you from using your jump is now going to be more annoying than ever. So cripples are annoying in pretty much all characters, but now that so much of your damage is actually tied up in your dash, it also means that they're not just stopping your getaway, they're also stopping a significant amount of your damage. Now, a positive that has come from all of this fun Persephone changes is that Persephone is way better at securing objectives than she used to be. So her old kit basically had no good way to secure an objective. But nowadays, if you want to secure an objective on Persephone, you throw down your 2 and probably your 1. That's going to make it so you have 4 plants at the target location, right? Whether it's the Gold Fury or the Fire Giant. Then once you have all those 4 plants down and you think it's getting in secure range, you just backflip on top of the Fire Giant, on top of the Gold Fury, and you're going to get that backflip damage plus all of your plant bite damage. And so it's probably not impossible for you to hit over that 1k to 1.5k secure damage, which is a very respectable amount of damage. You're still not going to out-secure like the ESET ults and the Scylla ults of the world, but you're going to be way better. I wouldn't be surprised if you were able to compete with things like Poseidon, Kraken, and like that level of secure. So raw ult, that kind of stuff. So way better at securing objectives than she used to be. Gonna go ahead and back it up, get myself that Karen's coin so we can get it stacking. And then we're going to be finishing up with that Rod of Tahuti. So with this build, we're going to have 40% pen because we've got the 20% from Karen's, 10% from Mirden, 10% from Rod of Tahuti. And we're going to have 40% CDR because we're going to get 20 from Sands of Time, 10 from Spear of Desolation, and another 10 from Staff of Mirden. So we're going to be cap pen, we're going to be cap cooldown, we're going to have a little bit of life steal from our boots. And of course, if we sell those late game, we can basically get whatever we want because we're already capped in most of our stuff. Gonna send some plants towards that Gilgamesh's way. I'm gonna launch an ultimate down there towards him as well. Doesn't look like I'm gonna be able to connect on that. Gonna set up a nice little 2 and a nice little another 2 and do the backflip combo right there on the Ganesh. Ganesh takes a ton of damage. He's gonna go down from that. I've still got my abilities back up to shove through mid, and we can actually probably go right on over to the Fire Giant.
Okay.
Persephone also now really thrives, just like she used to, at the Phoenix defense and assault. She is really good at both of them. Same concept as old Persephone kit. Get down a whole lot of plants. Once your plants are down, you just start launching them out one by one. Do a little auto here, do a little auto there. Once this is down to about 15, I'm gonna do a little backflip, and you can see that I secured the Fire Giant, no problem. Right there, we actually had enough time. I got basically all 7 plants down. So 7 plants plus my jump damage. Look at the jump damage, 500 damage, 9-second movement ability. That's a crazy amount of damage for your getaway skill to be able to do. All 4 of these abilities are gonna do damage. So even if you hit for 700 and you're like, yeah, that's like a good mage ability, right? It's not like unheard of. It's not like it's a Scylla Crush or something. But you have to factor in, you got this, and this. 4 damaging abilities, all of them very solid in their own right. I can now get myself the Pendulum of the Ages, and then we'll finish up with the Rod of Tahuti. Another great item on Persephone is Soul Gem. Soul Gem is fantastic. In order to get it, you'd have to probably get rid of either the Spear of Desolation or the Karen's coin. If you get rid of the Karen's coin, you're going to be overcapped by 10% CDR, which I just honestly don't think is a big deal. And if you get rid of the Spear of Desolation, you are going to be missing a little bit in that early CDR department. So I'm going to pop my ulti, boom, boom. I get the double 2s off. He is stuck inside the whole time, and he's going to go down. So I ulti the Gilgamesh. He can't do nothing about it. 2, do a little jump, bada bing, bada boom. Send out a bajillion plants, do a bajillion damage. That's exactly what you're looking to do on the Persephone. Gonna go ahead and use my plants here just for a little bit of sustain. Took some damage right there from the tower. So in the late stages of the game, on Persephone, you're just focusing whatever is in front of you. If you've got a tank in front of you, congratulations, you're fighting the tank. If you've got an assassin in front of you, congratulations, you're fighting the assassin. Doesn't matter what's in front of you, that is what you are hitting. You will blow anything up, especially with this build, with the 40% pen when it's all capped out. You don't even got to worry about it. 844 damage with my line-based 1. I'm gonna go ahead and ulti right where this guy is ulting. Unfortunately, not gonna be able to hit it. Give this a little jumpity jump. Send it on over towards their way. So Ganesh is gonna take about half his HP. Need to sustain up, so I'm gonna use my 2 now just for a little bit of HP. That combined with the Fire Giant, I'm basically already back at my full health. Now we do need to be careful about going into this room. Gilgamesh jumps, gonna throw down my 1, 2, jump on top of him. Unfortunately, I don't think the plants were quite spawned yet from my 2, so I'm actually not gonna get the full credit for that damage. I will get credit for this damage. Those plants are now running at the Ganesh. We should be able to put him down. Gonna throw down some more plants towards the Hu Yi. Throw down my 1 on them, and then use my 3 to send out those plants. And now we are on the Titan. We got to be a little bit careful. Once again, this is pretty risky. I'm going to go ahead and ulti for that CC immunity. Throw down a couple of 2s right on over here, and then backflip right out of the Gilgamesh. He gets hit by all of that. I need to Aegis away right now from the Daji. Throw down my 2 and my 1 right on top of her. I'm going to use these plants now for the sustain. And we can probably get ourselves back into this Titan room. Gonna throw down my 2. Jump right on out. Do a ton of damage to the Titan. And it looks like we are probably gonna be able to wrap this up. And all of this damage that we're doing is actually without that right up to Hootie even being finished. So Persephone rework had a lot of people in uproar that their favorite god was going to be bad. She is different. Definitely plays in a very different style, but she is objectively still one of the best, if not the best mage in the game, probably up there with Tiamat, maybe even up there with Morgana when she releases as well, assuming she doesn't get nerfed from the PTS guys. So utilize those plants, level up that one early. It'll just make your clear so much easier, especially right now with the two just being a little bit, a lot of bit inconsistent in the way that it outputs damage. But once you get a bunch of plants firing, it's hard to tell that inconsistency anymore, guys. And that is your Persephone, a mid lane guy. Thank you for supporting the Twitchiest community. If you'd like to see more videos, make sure you subscribe to the channel and always hit that bell for notifications so you don't miss any of the upcoming videos. Thank you for all your support and have a twitching day, y'all.